Welcome back to Stories from the River Season 2, the Elevate Launch Series. I'm here with my business partner and our Chief Operating Officer and guest number 1 from the podcast last year, Manny Rodrigues. Manny, welcome back.
Thank you, Charlie. It's good to be back. Congratulations on Season 2. I'm glad this got picked up for a second season.
Well, it was a little bit tense there, but we got it back. And I had to do some negotiating on being the host again. And so we agreed to terms.
Wonderful.
So Manny, we're really taking some time to unpack the word of the year, which has kind of become a thing in and of itself at Broad River. And, we've gone back and forth with how these kind of words kind of originate and come to life. Talk to us about, you're the one who really had the initial spark on this word elevate and then pitched it to me and then we pitched it to the team because I really, it wasn't where I was at, but then I heard it, I was like, ooh, that sounds really good. And we could do a lot with that because a word of the year has to have staying power for a whole year. So walk us through the story and the origin story of elevate.
Our word of the year, it actually has a following. It's pretty, it's one of our favorite slides as we talk to folks and tell them a little bit more about who we are at Broad River and what we do. And it's March right now, and about 2 months from now, we'll probably be reached out to, and they'll start asking us, hey, what's your word of the year for 2024?
They start pretty early.
They start really early. But this word, first of all, I love the process. I love the process in which we go through with our team, with our leadership team, to really understand, like, what do you think? And it's a really collaborative process. We love saying that we make better decisions together. And so to your point, you may have had a couple of words that were percolating, but this word, elevate, really came to me during our run. You were, I think, probably 3 minutes ahead of me in the run. This was Around the Crown here in Charlotte.
Around the Crown 10K.
Around the Crown 10K gets a shout out here on the podcast. And it was my first 10K. And so you were way ahead. I was back there with Tim Sales. We were running, and we were running around the city and just getting ready to kind of go under an overpass. And I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I was reminiscing about, wow, like record-breaking year, 2022, our year to thrive, so many great things happening across the enterprise, across the departments. Where do we go from here? Like, where do we go from here? We just broke the records on how we operated. And so where do we go from here? And I just kind of was looking up and thinking about, like, how do we elevate? How do we go from here? How do we still have that mindset of being at the base of the mountain? Because I believe that's still where we are. At Broad River Retail, we are still at the base of this mountain. And you and I both know that what it takes is that mindset of getting better each day, one day at a time, winning the day. And so when I think about the word elevate, and really just spent some time before I really mentioned it to you during one of our conversations, I really looked at the root of the word, look at the origin of the word. Latin word back in the 1490s, first origin said that, it's elevatus. And what does that mean? To lift, to rise together. And that's essentially kind of for us. Yeah. How do we can lift, and we can lift all things, whether it's community impact, we can lift where we go from thrive to elevate. There's still plenty of work to do. And so elevate just felt like a great word for 2023 as we embarked on that journey, the next chapter.
Well, I love that. Well, when you're on a run, you're either trying to just fight yourself and push yourself to get through it, or sometimes you can get a runner's high and have some really strong bouts of inspiration. So I think you were looking up at the people cheering you on and saying, hey, we got to go higher. We're at the base of the mountain. This is a great visual. And I love going back to the root, the etymology of the word, and lift to rise. And if elevate's the hub, there's a lot of, I think, spokes that could be metaphorical spokes to that that can plug into this word elevate. Like you talked about, to lift all boats, to rise all boats, to raise, to elevate our standards, to set higher standards, to level up, to up level, or to go to the next level. There's a lot of ways that we can connect to that. And here we are, while you were having this bout of inspiration, we didn't know that we were going to get for the second year in a row our best places to work in furniture, one of only 10 companies, or we didn't know for only the second time in our company's history, first time since 2009, we would be honored to receive the Chairman's Award, which we received by the end of the year. And all those things coalesced into trying to focus on thriving. And so now to take it to the next level, like, because we knew we were going to set some records, which we did last year, we still continue to grow. You've often heard it said that the biggest impediment to tomorrow's success is today's success. So you're mired in today, you're having this successful year, you're thinking about it, and you're like, well, the biggest challenge to that could be complacency. And that we're not at the base of the mountain, we're at the top of the mountain. And that's a lot easier to fall from or to go downhill when you're at the top. So you've got to have this mindset that we're still elevating, we're still escalating, we're still rising and lifting up across all departments. And I think that does really have staying power, and it can be boundaryless. So as we talk about boundaryless, I'd really like to talk about the creative process. There's a whole process, and you really took the wheel this one and started working with Jim, and walk us through how the Elevate logo and the design kind of came to be from your perspective.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's a pleasure to work with Jim in our marketing department. He does such an amazing job with all of our logos, for whether it's our locations, whether now it's our departments. Everyone's getting in on the fun. Again, it goes back to purpose, begins with identity. And so for us, I mean, you're wearing the Ashley pullover today, and I was just telling one of our colleagues outside that, during the weekend, that's where you see me in. And I love the fact that we have that community. And so when Jim and I were talking about and doing an intake session for the word elevate, he was already, way ahead of me on like the creative elements of it. And so he had multiple ideas. And for him, he was like, it's like we're like a rocket ship. He's like, we are like a rocket ship, and we are taking this thing, and we are going to continue to elevate. But it's not just like you or Charlie or Jocelyn or Stacy or Bill. He's like, no. This is what we learned throughout the pandemic, what we learned throughout our year to thrive in 2022 was that, man, we've got this team, we've got this community of memory makers, and when we jump on a project or a commitment, it's pretty special what our folks can do together. And so he wanted to kind of have that personified here in this rocket ship. Like, this is the collective river, the Broad River Retail, with the river logo kind of back there in the backdrop, of course, with the moon. It's outer space. It's leveling up. It is going to the next level, and we're doing it together, which has been our theme. I mean, we've had forward together, we've had united as key themes. And so this kind of has a nod to that, because we are going to, the way that we have a perfect, when we think about how do we, in 9 months from now, how do we say, hey, that we were able to elevate? Well, we'll know that by the overall impact that we've had together as an enterprise in our community, on our business, on each other. And so I loved where he ended up with it. I loved the jet fuel. And if you look at the trajectory of the rocket ship, it's not just straight up, right? It's not just straight up, because then gravity comes into play. It's continuous. It is lifting off, but it is like I just think back to one of my recent conversations. I love to see this. I love to see this. And if you're listening, you can't see my hand motion here, but like continuous improvement.
Up and to the right.
Up and to the right. Continuous improvement. Like the roller coaster ride gets a little nauseating.
Yeah.
Let's stay consistent. Let's continue to rise. Let's continue to elevate together.
Yeah, and I probably had a little bit of a different sort of expectation for what it might look like, and also maybe a limiting belief. And I'll touch on both of those real quickly. I thought, well, hey, we're going to break this into 4 quadrants of quarters, and we're going to have 4 mountain peaks to like in Mount Kilimanjaro or Mount Everest, and we'll culminate with like the biggest mountain and for our 4 quarters, and that's how we'll shape up our year. And Jim's vision and your vision was like, well, we've done the mountain thing. This goes beyond that. And then I would have had a limiting belief, I think, a little bit on, I don't know about being a rocket ship and blasting off in a recessionary year, a down year. That I don't want to be disconnected on that. But our people are like pushing us, no, that we are gonna, we'll figure it out. So the pitch, and then the third thing was initially what we had, the man in the spaceship and the astronaut in the spaceship. And I was like, hey, is that a solo mission? How can we bring all along? And another version was just the launch event. And I was like, does that look like just a single launch event, which doesn't work after like January or February. We need something to last the whole year. And so I was thinking, well, if y'all want to have, something flying, do like the Blue Angels or hey, Top Gun Maverick just came out. Let's have them all flying in unison together so we can have everyone together. But Kim kind of pushed back and said, no, this could be the vision that, Kim, our senior director of marketing and communications and community outreach, said, no, wait, it can actually be like raising to new standards of excellence across the board and different and she really pitched this vision, and we said, hey, we can add some, let's take your feedback, but see if we can add some motion so it's not looking like a single launch event. And I think they did a great job nailing it, and better than like someone who like would have had a different creative expectation, better than I could have come up with, better than I would have had in my mind. And so I think it's like really, it's going to push us. You can't like have something like this, and it's going to push every department. And so transitioning from where we are now with this theme, and it's not just a word, it's a theme that permeates and, like you said, percolates through every department. It's going to push every department to be entrepreneurial, or intrapreneurial. So what do you think about this approach that we've had with our 4 cornerstones: financial, innovation, customer experience, and memory maker experience, as opposed to like our top 4 initiatives, into manifesting this word elevate for every department leader to say, go innovate in your box, in within your department, with your people.
Yeah. No, I think
go elevate, I should say.
I think it's a great question. But again, it goes back to when we sit and we talk through this with our greater team, the best idea wins, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I think some of the feedback there helped Jim and our team and our marketing team there create this amazing Elevate logo. So there's a credit there. Ultimately, this word to me, in what you just mentioned, brings me back to the word premier. When we had the word of the year premier, and ultimately, like, we use that in everything. When we thought about our customer experience, when we thought about the process we were going through, we would always ask, we'd be reminded of, hey, is that premier? Like, are we comfortable signing off on that? Is that premier? And this year, it's the staying power of the word elevate. Roots us in, as we're making these decisions, as we're contemplating where to go next. We're rooted with, is that elevating the current process? Like, are we elevating by making this decision? Are we elevating with this decision with the people decision, process decision? And so I think when it comes down to the cornerstones, we now have a leadership team, a management team that we're so blessed with, that has been with us. They've gone through some sprints with us. They've gone through a pandemic. And so the great part now is they have that desire, and we have the desire as well to grow, and they want to be intrapreneurs. And so running those departments as business owners, there's such goodness in that. And so as they make the decisions, as they get with their leadership team, you see it everywhere. You see it in ops, you see customer care, retail performance. I think I heard the word elevators being used. So there's riffs on the word. That's what it's going to mean. And honestly, where it really came together for me was our first leadership meeting of the year, when we recapped and said, hey, let's just spend a quick second. We don't want to get too wrapped up in the press clippings for 2022. I am glad and so thankful about the recognition, and our team earned that, right? All of our folks collectively helped us achieve these amazing awards. And so we spent we did a parking lot, right? A flip chart. We had one page of things that we would just, wow, like that, what a great year. But then we stopped and said, okay, where's there still more opportunity? And that conversation lasted double the time, and we had almost 3 pages of notes. And so that's coming off a remarkable year, right? A year to thrive. And we had 3 pages of notes of things that, hey, we can still do better. And so that word elevate, again, just resonated in that room, because it has to do, it's rooted in financial, in customer experience, in innovation, in our memory maker experience. Really, really important. So those cornerstones act as kind of those pillars, those really foundational rocks of how we're going to continue to elevate.
I really like the word root. It roots us in. I was thinking about the word, it anchors us. It anchors every department, or it tethers every department to a level of accountability. And it's really peer-to-peer accountability. It's really department to department accountability or peer-to-peer accountability here as business partners. So as we transition to being role models and leading by example, I know you've got a lot of personal goals and things that you're always working on. How are you looking to elevate personally, or how are you going to or currently elevating personally in 2023?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I'm fortunate to have a business partner that does not let grass grow under his feet. He's constantly pushing me on whether it's just wellness, which I love the wellness journey that we're on, and also pushing me just again to get better every day. I think it's continuous, so it is not I'm not looking at a stopping point. And so from a personal standpoint, we're going to continue the wellness journey. We're going to continue to track and to sign up for a lot more around the Crowns here in Charlotte, so or in the Southeast, maybe the Carolinas. So stick there for now. But also, just how we spend time from a self-improvement and just whether it's reading, whether it's continuous activities that are meaningful. So as leaders, we have to go first. That's really, really important. We have to go first because it's like that metaphor. You can't really pour into someone. And if there's a desire to do it, which I know there is here at the table, to continuously pour, well, we have to first be refreshed and get that information first. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I think Elevate also, it's great when it applies for the business and we can use it also in our personal lives. And honestly, like, how do I continue to be a really good dad to my two boys and be be present with them and be a good husband, be a good brother, be a good son. All things that are really, really important to me.
That's awesome. Well, you've been pushing me. I don't know if I can match that turkey trot record-setting pace that you had, but let me see if I can't rope you in. I said, since you're looking to elevate, can I get you to agree here on the record to do a half marathon with me this year?
Half marathon. I've consulted with my primary physician, and he loves the 10Ks. He even the half marathon. I maybe we'll have one in me. I'll have one to just scratch it off the list. I don't even like to run. I really don't. I mean, that's why I'm like, I keep my mind busy as I'm running, thinking about other things, like what our word of the year is going to be for 2024, which I have a leader in the clubhouse. But I think there might be one this year. There might be one this year.
We got it. Anything else on the word elevate, Manny?
No, I just thankful for all the memory makers here at the River, the ones that are with us and the ones that are yet to join. Thank you for having me on season 2.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
That's Stories from the River. Season 2, the Elevate launch series. We got several episodes ready to fire at you for how we're going to elevate in 2023. That's Manny Rodrigues, Chief Operating Officer.